The Walking Dead Comic Covers, Volume 19, March to War, which includes issues 109 through 114. Number 109 starts this story arc off with a cover that is partially from inside the issue. Maggie is kneeling in front of Glenn's tombstone at the hilltop, however Sophia is not with her while she's there. And Maggie's not really wearing a hoodie, more like a coat. This issue was also released with the blank sketch variant. This variant is usually for fans to take to conventions and get their favorite artists, or even friends or themselves to do a sketch on the cover. It's just the blank sketch stapled over the actual comic, so the original cover is still under the blank white page. Also, quick fun fact, I was lucky enough to find a Defect 109. It's actually missing the green. Every other issue I've ever seen before was green in the logo, and this blue one is the only one out there that I am aware of. If anyone's seen any other defects, please leave that in a comment box below. Number 110 could be misinterpreted as Michonne battling the new character Ezekiel. In the comic, however, Michonne gives Ezekiel some attitude when she first meets him, and he pulls out his sword cane, tapping it on her katana rather playfully. This cover can be taken as literal, since they literally touched swords in this issue. However, it can be symbolic as well, symbolizing the spark these two characters had, seeing as this issue would start the progression of their intimate relationship. Number 111 is a cover that represents an iconic and slightly funny scene from the comic. Negan accuses Spencer of being gutless. Then he takes that big knife and jams it into Spencer's belly, slicing him wide open and spilling his guts to the floor. The comedy comes when Negan expresses his shock at the gutless bastard actually having guts. Give Negan a grin and put a knife in his hand, and this comic panel becomes the cover. Number 112 is as misleading as covers get. This one makes it appear as if Carl and Andrea ran up to Negan after he killed Spencer. But I guess this cover is more exciting than the alternative that was actually in the comic, which is Negan, being a porch dick, sipping on some ice water. Andrea and Carl never pull guns out on Negan like the cover suggests. Inside the issue, Rick and Negan actually argue a little over Spencer's death, and Negan and the Saviors just leave. That is when Rick gets the idea to attack. It's an impulsive decision he will immediately regret. Although this cover is misleading, it actually has some heavy foreshadowing. At the end of the issue, Rick decides to attack Negan. In this issue and the next, Andrea takes a position in the tower with her rifle aimed at Negan and his crew. While in the tower, a savior sneaks up, attacking her from behind, represented on the cover as walkers attacking her from behind, with Andrea looking over her shoulder, in both cases, with a worried expression. Carl, on the other hand, looks very much like a callback to issue 108, where he was fighting walkers with Michonne, and one of them was able to sneak up on him from the side because of his missing eye. Personally, I prefer the foreshadowing better. On the cover, Carl aims his gun at Negan, and in the comic, he not only aims, but he fires at Negan, except he hits Lucille by mistake. And the worried look on Carl's face could represent the worry that Carl has for his father, who is now on his knees in front of Negan for the second time, awaiting Negan's punishment. That sounded a little more sexual than it should have. Number 113 is a very interesting cover. Maybe not the cover itself, but it reveals a possible continuity error. On the cover, Andrea is perched in her sniper post in the tower, and in the issue, she is also perched in her sniper post in the tower. However, when she first arrives there to get into position, she's wearing her black V-neck shirt. Then, all of a sudden, she has her coat on, the same coat she wears on the cover, and it doesn't look like she brought it with her. Number 114 is a kick-ass action scene that is very similar to the story, but too different to be considered an exact panel from it. I consider this one to be an action scene portrait, but what I do find odd is why the cover didn't show an epic Jesus versus Negan action scene for this cover, because that's mostly what happens inside the issue. Not only does Jesus use Lucille to bloody Negan's face, but he gets the upper hand, just like he did on Abraham back in issue 92. Jesus is the shit. March to War, story arc, stats. 1 out of 6 covers are panels from inside the comic. There are a few partials that almost made it, but they're just not close enough. There are no covers that has a character's first cover appearance. Only 1 out of 6 covers feature walkers, and Rick Grimes doesn't appear on any of these 6 covers. My favorite cover from this story arc is number 111. Runner-ups, number 112 and number 114. Honorable mention, number 113. Fifth, number 109. And least favorite, number 110. Be sure to tell us your favorite covers from this story arc, and stay tuned, because next is 2 bonus comic cover videos, followed by Volume 20, All Out War, Part 1.